This is the story of a woman who lived by her own rules, with a sword in one hand and a song in her heart. Her name was Julie d'Aubigny, and her life was more unbelievable than any opera she ever performed. Her tale begins not in an opera house, but in the heart of the French court of King Louis XIV. Her father, Gaston d'Aubigny, was a secretary and fencing master to the king's master of horse, the Count d'Armagnac. While other girls learned needlepoint, Julie learned the art of the duel. Her father trained her alongside the male pages, believing a sharp mind required an equally sharp blade. She quickly outmatched every boy she faced. As a teenager, she became the Count d'Armagnac's mistress, a position that offered protection but not freedom. To secure her future, her father arranged a marriage to a quiet bureaucrat, the Sieur de Maupin, giving her a respectable name. But a quiet, domestic life was a cage she would not tolerate. Shortly after the wedding, her husband was sent away on a tax collection assignment. Julie saw her chance, not for a reunion, but for an escape. She didn't leave alone. She ran away with her fencing master, a man named Serrans. He was a wanted man, having killed another in an illegal duel. Together, they fled south, a pair of skilled outlaws on the run. To survive, they made a living from their swords. They would travel from town to town, putting on fencing exhibitions in noisy taverns. Julie, dressed as a man, would challenge any local who dared to face her. Her skill often aroused suspicion. During one exhibition, a man in the crowd loudly doubted that such a graceful fighter could truly be a woman. Annoyed, Julie paused the duel, unbuttoned her shirt, and briefly exposed her chest. After proving her point, she calmly buttoned her shirt and defeated her opponent. Word of the sword-fighting woman spread like wildfire. But their life on the run was exhausting, and Julie yearned for something more than survival. Eventually, she parted ways with Serran and made her way to the bustling port city of Marseille. There, she sought to use her other great talent, her voice. She auditioned for the Marseille Opera under her married name, Le Maupin. The director was stunned. Her voice, a powerful and beautiful contralto, was a natural marvel. She was hired immediately, and her passionate performances quickly made her the star of the Marseille stage, captivating audiences every night. It was during one of these performances that her life took another dramatic turn. In the audience, a young woman watched her, completely entranced. Her name was Cecilia Bordigali, the daughter of a wealthy merchant. A secret, passionate romance blossomed between the two women. They met in moonlit gardens and hidden alcoves, stealing moments away from the prying eyes of Marseille society. For a time, Julie found a happiness she had never known, but their secret could not last. Cecilia's parents discovered the affair and were horrified. To them, a relationship with a scandalous sword-fighting opera singer was an unthinkable disgrace to their family's name and honor. To separate the lovers permanently, they chose a cruel and absolute solution. They sent their daughter away to a convent in Avignon, believing its holy walls would cure her of her unnatural affections and keep her from Le Maupin forever. When Julie learned what had happened, she was not merely heartbroken, she was enraged. The idea of Cecilia locked away was unbearable. Despair quickly turned into a cold, hard resolve. She would not lose the woman she loved. She devised a plan so audacious it bordered on madness. She traveled to Avignon and, using her acting skills and a fabricated story of seeking repentance, she gained entry into the very same convent as a novice. Inside the convent, she bided her time, following the strict routines of prayer and work. She secretly reconnected with Cecilia, whispering promises of escape during brief, stolen moments in the cloister gardens. Hope was rekindled. Her opportunity came from tragedy. An elderly nun in the convent passed away from illness. As the sisters prepared the body for burial, Julie saw the key to her entire plan. A grim, horrifying, but perfect opportunity. That night, under the cover of absolute darkness, Julie crept into the room where the body was being kept. With immense effort and steely nerves, she lifted the deceased nun into her arms and slipped back into the shadows. She carried the body to Cecilia's cell, where her lover was waiting in terror and anticipation. The two women embraced for a fleeting moment, a silent acknowledgement of the terrifying step they were about to take together. Working quickly, they placed the corpse in Cecilia's bed, arranging it to look like she had died in her sleep. It was a gruesome switch, a desecration born of desperation. There was no turning back now. To complete the deception and cover their escape, Julie took the final irreversible step. She took a candle and set fire to the straw mattress and bed linens. Flames began to lick at the walls of the cell. As smoke filled the corridors and the convent bells began to ring an alarm, Julie and Cecilia slipped out through the chaos. They fled into the night, leaving behind a burning room and the body of Cecilia Bordigali. The authorities found the burned room and the charred body, which they presumed to be Cecilia. For the crimes of kidnapping, body snatching, and arson, Julie Daubigny, La Mopam, was tried in absentia and sentenced to be burned at the stake. But Julie was far from the pyre. After about 3 months, her affair with Cecilia ended, and she made her way back to Paris. Undaunted by her death sentence, she sought out her old protector, the Count d'Armagnac. The Count, stunned and amused by her sheer audacity, took her case directly to King Louis XIV. The Sun King, who had a known appreciation for colorful and daring characters, was so entertained by the tale that he granted her a full royal pardon. With her death sentence erased, Julie Daubigny joined the prestigious Paris Opera. She became one of its biggest stars, her legendary voice matched only by the legendary stories of her past. She had fought for her life and her love, and won. She continued to duel, to love both men and women, and to sing until her retirement in 1705. Julie Daubigny lived more in her 33 years than most could in a dozen lifetimes, a true force of nature who refused to be forgotten.